Hello, welcome back to another one of my videos. This is going to be a quick video today, a bit of a beginner's guide to repotting tomato plants. If you're a seasoned gardener and you've been gardening for a little while, you probably won't find the information in this video today too useful, because it is fairly basic things. That's why I've called it a beginner guide, but we all have to start somewhere, and sometimes things that you learn over time, you kind of forget that they're new to people, and sometimes the simplest things are the things that obviously beginners don't know and aren't sure how to do. So what I'm doing today is just a very quick video on repotting this tomato plant that I've got here into this larger plant, and showing you how you can do that. So that's today's video. Hope you enjoy it. Okay, so basically I started off sowing my tomato plants into little pots, this sort of size actually. These are chilies, these aren't tomatoes, but I grew them in pots, started them off in pots this sort of size. These actually really need repotting, so please ignore them because they should have been repotted ages ago. But this is just to show the pot that I started the seeds in. And I started them in mid-February, and when they got to a little bit smaller than that, I potted them individually into these larger pots here. And the idea with my tomatoes is, in the long run, I am going to be putting them out on the balcony. But for now, as it's only at the very end of March, it's still going to be a little bit cold from out there. And this little guy here is going to want to go into a larger pot. So I'm going to show you today the best way that I've found for repotting tomatoes. And it's really easy, and it's pretty hard to go wrong really. Just to mention as well, these are Indeterminate tomatoes, so the Cordon variety you may also know them as. Bush tomatoes I also grow, but I grow them a completely different way. So this is my guide, say for Indeterminate or Cordon variety. And what I'm going to do, start off by carefully trying to get this compost in this pot. I'd love to be doing this down the allotment today actually, but it's 6:30 already and we've only got about another half hour's worth of daylight left, and there's no point in going down there, setting up the camera, trying to get the video shot and do all of that, because I just wouldn't have time. So I'm going to do it here in my bedroom. So I've got a towel down to try and minimise mess from the compost. I'm very glad that my landlord has put down a brown carpet, because if I make a mess, hopefully I can hoover it up and there won't be any evidence of soil. But yeah, I'm going to start by just getting some of this compost carefully into the bottom of this pot. And I have put down a towel because I know I'm going to make at least a little bit of mess. And I'm hoping that the towel will catch most of the mess. And what I'm trying to do is get the compost in the bottom of the pot here to the kind of level that I want the tomato to go in at. So for example, if I was to put it in like that, it would be up to about there, which is actually pretty much where I want it. Because that brings me on to my next point with tomatoes. The nice thing about tomatoes, especially ones that have been grown like mine have early on in a propagator, they can sometimes get a bit leggy, which basically means that it's got a lot of thin stem and then, a lot, let me show you. These are chilies, but like I say, chilies and tomatoes are very similar in the way they behave, and these have also got leggy. So you can see the stem, it's thin and it's long, and the leaves don't start till up here. And what you don't really want is that long gap there, because it's weaker, it's going to blow around more in the wind. So you want to be able to bury it as close to these first set of baby leaves as possible. And the nice thing with tomatoes, and also with chilies, is that they don't mind being repotted at a lower level. So what that means is when you replant, you can bury all of that stem, and on this one I will bury it up to about here. And what it's going to do, say I'll bury it up to about here, and then all of this stem that's underground, under the earth, will sprout new roots, and that's actually going to help the tomato plant, because then it's going to get a stronger root system, and it's going to grow probably better than one that hasn't been buried at a lower level. And what I'm going to do to get this one ready for potting in here is, I know I want to bury it up to about there, so I'm carefully just going to pinch out these lower leaves. So there's no problem with doing that, just carefully pinch them off. And I'm going to take this one off too. So carefully just pinching it away. And I'm also going to take this one here. So I'm just going to go in and carefully just pinch it off. Ooh. Oh, let me pop that one down, that one didn't come away so cleanly. There we go. Trying to be as gentle as possible. I say that last one didn't come away too easily, but yeah, it's all good now. And then the best way to get them out of the pot, what I tend to do is put my hand like that, trying to avoid touching the stem as much as possible, especially when they're tiny seedlings. You don't want to be touching the stem at all. If you were transplanting seedlings, you'd want to touch them, if you had to, very gently by one of these little baby leaves. So when it comes to transplanting seedlings, say always hold them by the baby leaf. Never hold them by the stem, because if you damage the stem, the plant is just doomed. It's not going to survive. If you damage the leaf, it doesn't really matter. Especially these little baby ones, they aren't the true leaves. The true leaves are the ones that come afterwards that look like the leaf of the plant. So say hold it by the baby leaf. But for this one, because it has grown bigger, what I'm going to do, hands on like that, and then over the top of this plant pot, to avoid too much mess, I'm just going to carefully tip him out. And you can see you've got all the roots there, and so that's definitely ready for repotting. And I'm carefully going to turn it back the correct way, pop it down onto the pot, and I'm working out, my soil level will be about there, so I can actually go a little bit deeper. So just getting him in a little deeper, that should do it. And then all I'm going to do is carefully fill around the edges with compost. Whoops, I said I'd make a mess. I always make a mess. I can't help it. Just one of those people that just seems to be a messy sort of person. If a mess can be made, I will make it. Right, so just getting this compost in. So burying that stem completely, gently firming it down as I go. And yeah, firming it in gently and firmly. If you can be gentle but firm. Suppose you can, can't you? Yeah. I'm not pressing down too hard, just enough to make sure that the plant is secure in there and the compost is firmly down. And as you can see, what we've got now is a tomato plant that is a lot shorter, but all the way down there. So the base of the plant is probably down to about there now. So we've got a massive long stem underneath the ground, and they will shoot out more roots, it'll grow more roots, so then it should develop a really good root ball, which is going to take up obviously more nutrients, more water, and it should lead, hopefully, to a stronger, healthier plant and more tomatoes. And I say it's really easy to do, and the key points are to remember to basically you can bury the root. Obviously you can bury the root. If you didn't bury the root, you'd be having problems. You can bury the stem, that's what I'm trying to say. And there's some plants that you can't bury the stem on, but tomatoes are perfect if they do get leggy, because you can. And you can also bury the stem with chilies. So they are perfect plants for burying lower down in the ground, and they will do well like that. What I'm going to do with him now is just water him, pop him in a sunny spot in my bedroom until the weather warms up, and then I'm going to stick them out on my balcony, and then I'm going to sort of train them up, and I'll show you, I'll do another video with regards to pinching out side shoots and training them upwards, because there are indeterminate tomatoes like these do take a lot of care. You do have to pinch out side shoots, but there's no point in me trying to describe how to do that now, because I say if you're a gardener who's been gardening for a while, you're going to know how to do it. And if you're a beginner, me sitting here now trying to explain what a side shoot is and how to pinch it out, you're not going to understand, or I know I wouldn't understand, without being actually shown on a plant. And obviously these plants are still young, they don't have side shoots yet, so I'm going to wait until I've got some plants that do have side shoots, and then I will show you how to pinch out the side shoots and tie them into canes and feed them to hopefully get the maximum amount of tomatoes. And just for reference as well, this is another plant here, another tomato that I transplanted probably about a week or two ago now, and I actually started these two on the same day. I sowed the seeds on the same day, and they were about the same level, but then when I replanted this one, and now that I've replanted this one, he's grown a lot quicker and a lot stronger, so I'm hoping within the next couple of weeks to see a similar level of growth on this one. And then we'll move on to the next stage, and I'll show you, I say, the side shoots and tying them and feeding them. And that's about it for this video. I know I promised everyone an allotment update, which I have been hoping to do before now, but I haven't got around to it. It's been too hectic and too busy here with work and various other bits and pieces. I'm hoping to do an allotment update on Sunday. I've got the digging done, and I need to get my onions in and my potatoes in, so on Sunday I am hoping to be able to get up the allotment to do a proper update video on the planting and the plot update and the sowing the seeds. So fingers crossed I'll get that done on Sunday, and then I'll give you a plot update. I say for now that is everything, and I will speak to you later. Thanks for watching. Bye.